Okay, Kenria, we can go ahead and start. Okay. Good evening, Pinyon Unified School District members, parents and students and staff as well. Tonight, we are actually going to do our Title I parent meeting where we will go over the different components that we have in regards to the district as a whole and how we utilize the Title I funding for our area and the allocations that we get from state and different features to look at. Okay, so on just wanted to share the agenda here for our next part of the presentation. So tonight we have welcome and introductions. We have some of our staff members here to participate and provide feedback and so forth to any questions you may have in regards to the Title I presentation we're going to do. And then also we have information where we will help you answer any questions you might have about the program. So we'll discuss what it means to be a Title I school. It's like, what is the school-wide program? And then what does the Title I needs assessment of the school tell us, and how the school utilizes the goals. And then of course, information on the academic program at each school site, and then descriptions of curriculum. Also information on proficiency level for students, academic assessments, and then the different services that we provide for our students here at Pinyon Unified. And then also as a parent, you'll also know, get more information regarding parent notification requirements, like what you as a parent or guardian or what your rights are when it comes to acquiring information regarding teacher credentials and so forth. And then how you can be more involved with the school district as a whole, and then where we need your feedback and input in regards to school parent compacts, the parent activity involvement plan, and then of course we have to always include a survey so that way we are able to get your feedback, and we use those to help refine the district's current plans and to help start the planning process for fiscal year 22-23, which is next school year. And then of course we'll go in depth into the beyond textbook parent portal where you as a parent have access to this information. And then of course provide an opportunity for any questions, and we'll do answers or get the answers for you for some of the questions you have, and then the parent survey to help close out the meeting. So an introduction, I am Camelia Hosteen. I am the Federal Programs Director here at Pinyon Unified School District. Our program oversees different components in regards to federal grant requirements and programs that we help cover under Title I and the other grants that we get from state, Navajo Nation, or directly from the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. So our program, we provide services regarding parent engagements, having some of those different components there for parents as an outreach, and then making sure that they are connected with the appropriate staff members for any questions they may have in regards to their students' education. And then also services that we provide, for example, like with McKinney-Vento, which is the homeless program, and how Title I plays a role in that capacity, and how we make sure that those students are getting adequate services and that they have access to the education that all the other students do as well here on site. In addition, our program also works with the CTE program at the high school, which is the Career Technical Education, and then also our Diné Studies program from elementary all the way to high school. So that's just a brief introduction of who I am. Then I'll also have Ms. Generita Yazzie introduce herself, and then also Mr. Vicente, our family coordinator. And that way we can start the meeting and we can progress to the next part of the presentation. So Ms. Yazzie, go ahead.
Oh, Yate, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Generita Yazzie. I am the Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessments. I also help with, or I'm the coordinator for the EL department as well. I do work with K through 12 in all 3 schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vicente?
My name is Leland Vicente, and I'm the District Family Involvement Coordinator with Pinon Unified School District. I oversee and try to encourage family involvement and engagement. I'm available to all three of the schools to do outreach and try to provide resources to families to help with student learning. So that's my position, and we welcome you as parents to be involved with the school. And I'm always available if you need any help in terms of finding connections. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Ms. Yazzie and Mr. Vicente. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next portion. So we want to let you know that Pinon Unified School District is a Title I school. Title I school means that students have the criteria means that we have over 40% of our students who are at or above the poverty level, below the poverty level, and so forth. And so our Pinon Unified School District, we are looking at about 98% of our student population who do fall in that category. And we are a school-wide Title I program, so we are servicing our pre-K all the way up to our high school students, 12th grade. So we just want to make sure that you guys were aware of that and of what that entails when it comes to providing services and so forth for our students. And then another criteria requirement with this one means that we have to provide services to all students who are enrolled here at Pinon Unified to make sure that they are making the proper academic gains as they progress through the grade levels. And in addition, Pinon Unified also has a 100% free and reduced breakfast and lunch program. And when time, students are going to stay after and so forth for after school tutoring, we do provide dinner as well. And then also we have the summer feeding program that we extend to our community students that are enrolled with Pinon Unified School District. So with that, one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure that parents and community members are aware of, and I know we always have questions in regards to public education. So we always get the question of like, why are we here? It's like, what's the purpose of Pinon Unified School District, and how does this particular entity, school district, work with our students and teachers and so forth? So on this particular PowerPoint selection that you do have, everything revolves around the student. The students are our primary focus, and we have different components that we help support to make sure that the students are receiving high quality education, access to resources and materials to make sure that the students are getting the academic support and moving and towards the next grade level. And so they are able to be college and career ready when they complete their education here at Pinon Unified. So with the students, the primary focus here, our teachers, we have to ensure that they are providing high quality instruction. And some of the ways we do that is acquiring and looking at the curriculum. It's like the current curriculums that we do have here at Pinon Unified. The teams at the school sites and at the district level do take a look at that, and then of course do periodic updates to make sure that the students have access to current material and that it relies to the state standards for the different core subject areas that is required for students to complete by the time they get to high school and graduate. And then also to ensure that we have parent support and that we have that parents know that when they send their students here to Pinon Unified School District, that their students are receiving high quality instruction from pre-K through 12th grade. And then of course, making sure that parents are supported in the different areas that they may have questions on when it comes to student education, programs, academic support, and so forth. And of course, the schools, they're all centered for and focusing on our kiddos here, making sure that the students have the programs they need for academic success and making sure that those resources are acquired in a timely manner and available for the students and teachers to use to help them meet the goals that they have set for each quarter, semester, throughout the school year. So next, we're going to cover what it means to be a Title I school. So this one, we will have different areas where we focus on providing information in regards to how we spend some of our monies and what some of the federal funding requirements are, reporting requirements, and so forth. So during this section, if parents or community members, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat feature if you are participating through Zoom, or if you are participating through Facebook, you're watching in that component, just let me know through the chat feature. And when we get to a certain point in the discussion, we can take a look at those and answer any questions you may have in regards to what we are covering in this particular presentation for you this evening. So with this one, Title I schools as a district, that means we have federal funding coming in. That is monies that we receive from state to help supplement the school's existing program. So this is a supplemental funding. It's to help support the students and teachers, providing different resources, like I said, for academic assistance and to help those students who are struggling to meet the state's challenging content standards. So some of the ways we utilize some of the funding is providing after school tutoring, enrichment opportunities, making sure, if the need does come up, that we look at summer school also to have that provided and available for students who need that support. And then of course, making sure that we're mentoring our kiddos to have them on their career path, make sure that they are on the correct path and providing resources to help them achieve those goals. In addition to academic assistance, we also look at different materials when it comes to software, especially now with the COVID pandemic. We really had to revamp and start utilizing a lot of our electronic programs that we had previously in the district, and we did acquire some new ones to help our students meet the different areas that they need to for the content. And then, for example, Smarty Ants is implemented and provided at the elementary. So students who are enrolled there from K to 5th have the option or have the opportunity to utilize that software. And the teachers do utilize this on a regular basis. The administrators do look at the data. There are assessment components to that. So the students will have a pre and a post assessment to see, that the students are making the progress. If not, it's like, how can we continue to support them, or what other type of strategies can we use to make sure that the students are understanding that concept. Then of course, Edgenuity is a K-12 program that we offer here. So majority of the Edgenuity program, it allows us to utilize the online component of that. So where students who are in our online program, online school, they can use that feature to access the different courses that are provided. And we also have the option to do credit recovery for students at the high school who may need to recover a few credits due to not passing a class or something in that capacity. The students do have access to those type of resources, and that they would have to talk to their principal, administrators, assistant principal, for example, or their teachers to see if they have any questions on how they can utilize or get enrolled into that particular program to help them learn more in regards to the core standards that they may be struggling with, the strategies they may be having a little bit difficulty in understanding. And then also we have part of the Title I requirement is that we have to provide parent and family engagement trainings and opportunities. So with the pandemic, we had to switch to virtual in a lot of the parent presentations that we normally held before the pandemic. We used to do a lot of in-person, for example, having report card parties, parent-teacher conferences here on site. But because of what our current situation is in regards to COVID-19, we had to switch that and are now offering a lot of our parent trainings through Zoom, Google Meets, and then live streaming it through our Facebook page, and of course, utilizing YouTube as an option as well. And then also to ensure that we are retaining our teachers to make sure that they are highly effective. And to provide those type of resources, we do offer professional development opportunities to our administrators and our teachers across the district. So with that, any areas that our teachers may be struggling in when it comes to their teaching strategies and so forth, the teachers can talk with their administrator at the school sites and from there develop a professional development plan. And also as a district, we look at all 3 schools to ensure that we are meeting and supporting those teachers' needs when it comes to providing that support. And then another requirement that we have and we need to make sure parents are aware of is what are their rights when it comes to parent and family components. So we will cover that later on in the presentation. So this one, that our Title I program allows parents to have a lot of, opportunities to provide feedbacks, like how can we improve programs and so forth. So parent feedback is crucial when it comes to the Title I program and to make sure that we are providing services to help meet the students' needs here at Pinyon Unified. So part of being a Title I school, and this is a requirement from the state level, is that we need to have something called, it's called an integrated action plan. Prior years that went through different name changes, but currently at the district level, it's called the integrated action plan. And I did provide hyperlinks in this particular this particular presentation. So those who want to get a copy of this, it will be available on our federal programs district webpage. So that way, anybody who wants to go through the presentation and look at the different resources we have embedded in this area, they are more than welcome to do so. So the integrated action plan at the district level helps support the 3 schools. So this one is the big umbrella for the three schools we have here on Pinyon Unified, and it targets different areas when it comes to providing support. So with this one, this is what our integrated action plan looks like. And in there, the district team, in addition to the administrators, would take a look at this particular plan and go through and see what type of improvements they can make to the program. And then we do ask for parent feedbacks, like to ensure that we are meeting the goals that we have stated in this particular area. So in the integrated action plan, you will always find a primary need. So the primary need just tells you what is utilizing as a resource and what they are using to guide discussions. And then, of course, looking at the root cause to see, what is the cause of that need, and then how can we address that? And that's done with our needs statement. And then it's what is the desired outcome that we are looking at as a district? And then, of course, our SMART goal is what do we hope to achieve, not hope, but what we want to achieve by a specific date as a district. So this one right here under principle 1, it's regarding effective leadership. So we do have 6 different principles that we do look at as a district wide. And this plan is developed after the 3 schools develop theirs. And we help fill in the different areas of support in regards to utilizing the Title I funding and any of the other federal funding that we receive from state and from the federal level. So this particular component, the plan is 54 pages. So we do have indicators in there, for example, under effective leadership, it's what is the strategy? So this is something that we're looking at, for example, on how we can improve our coaching program at the district. What we mean by is our instructional coaching, meaning support for the teachers and the administrators in the building so that the teachers have access to the current available support in regards to improving and refining teaching strategies, looking at assessments, looking at data and how they can provide our students with that reteach and enrich component to help them grasp those concepts that they have outlined to the standards. So this at the district level, when you are looking at this particular plan, you will see what the action step is, what do we plan that's what our action is going to be as a district. and how we will provide support and who is responsible for those areas and what the timeline for that particular strategy will be. So for our current school year, we look at July 1st of the 2021 to June 30th of 2022. So we do have 1 year to work with this particular program, and we can always make adjustments to this as the needs change throughout the school year. So we do look at a quarterly evaluation for the school sites. And from there, if some of those changes means that we need to change something at the district level, we do so in this particular plan. So we do have different areas, and it is a lengthy document. So this will be available for your review at your leisure. And anytime you have questions regarding the integrated action plan, please feel free to call me. My information will be provided at the end of this presentation. I will provide my phone number and email, so that way parents, community members, whoever has a question, we can have those discussions so that we provide the background information to help our parents and community members understand why we have some of the goals we've indicated in our IAP. So next, we also have school level integrated action plans. So elementary, middle school, and high school. This is what we have at current as of, I'm sorry, I'm in September, in February for elementary, middle, and high school. So with this one, when we click on the document, you're able to pull up what is the plan for elementary. So if you have students enrolled at the elementary school, you are, as a parent, community member, stakeholder, you have access to this information. And anytime you have questions regarding any of the plans, whether it's at the district or at the site, we'll provide the contact information so you can have those meaningful discussions with your administrators and your leadership team, the teacher leaders at the school sites. So I know a lot of this information is verbs that you probably are not familiar with, and we understand that. So that's why we want to make sure that we provide the support and that we provide those definitions so you understand exactly what we have at the school level and at the district level to support students' academics and so forth. And then another part of the Title I school is that, and for school year 21-22, our district provided and updated the non-negotiables. And this was board approved and supported by our superintendent. So this particular document, our non-negotiables, is what we as a district have agreed on to provide services and so forth in regards to student academics here at Penn Yan Unified. So with this one, I'll go ahead and give you a couple minutes to take a look at this so you can read through and see what we have as non-negotiables for Penn Yan Unified School District. And anytime you have questions on any of these, like I said, feel free to use the chat box so we can provide the answers to you. And then also on the Facebook component, if you have questions there, please feel free to use the chat box and we can provide that, provide answers to your questions there as well. So with this, as a school district, we are looking at the beyond textbooks as a support for our curriculum. And then of course, utilizing the professional learning communities model, which we also refer to as PLCs for our school sites and also at a district level. And then looking at how we can provide reteach and enrich opportunities, interventions and so forth. And then also ensuring that we have some sort of support, restorative practices for positive behavior, intervention support system. So the PBIS program, then of course, acceleration academies, like how can we provide additional support to kiddos, whether it's after school or during the summer. Questions? Okay. And then also, as a Title I school, we need to ensure that we have a parent and family engagement policy and plan. available to the community, and that parents have the opportunity to provide feedback on different areas that we have covered in those family engagement components. So with this one, each of the schools will be reaching out to you if they have not already done so regarding parent feedback. So if you received a survey or a questionnaire through your child's Google Classroom or through the school's Facebook page or any of the other avenues they use, just make sure that you do take the time to take a look at those questions and provide your feedback, because that will help the school refine their current policies, their procedures to help assist students' academics and so forth. And then also for Title I, we are going to talk about how it's distributed and what we here as a district are required to follow, because this is federal funding that we have, and there are certain requirements that we have to fulfill. So for example, the Title I monies we get from the state, we have to put 1% aside of that budget, a minimum of 1% towards parent and family engagement. So we have up to a 10% budget of the allocation. So we have to look at that to make sure that we are providing that parent engagement that does not exceed for funding wise, we can't exceed the 10% allocation for that area. And then McKinney-Vento, which is our homeless program, we do have to ensure that we set aside some money to provide services to those students who are in the program. So that is 0.05% of the budget. And we typically go a little bit over than that. That's the minimum that the federal level requires us to spend in those two areas. But as Pinion Unified, we typically go above that for the McKinney-Vento, because our students who are experiencing homelessness have access to the resources so that they are, successfully completing the requirements for their grade levels and so forth. And then also to make sure that the funding is distributed to academic support. So that's, again, after school tutoring or summer school. And then of course, ensuring that we have staff, for example, student support facilitators who can work with our students to help catch them up and so forth throughout the school year. And then to ensure that we are retaining our teachers. That way we have teachers who understand and work with the students, and they have developed those relationships to help the students successfully move from grade to grade all the way up to and completing high school. Okay, so Title I breakdown, this is our pie, is another way to look at it, how we have distributed our Title I monies. So with this one, our Title I funding, we have a little over $1 million, and that is based off of student enrollment information. So for this current school year, we are looking at 1.1 million to assist with and providing resources support through Title I. So part of that, the breakdown is we have 10% for administrative costs, 6% for indirect costs, 15% for intervention, and McKinney-Vento parent engagement. At this point in time, when we're looking at the funding source, it's a little over 1%. And then, of course, professional development. So that includes sending our staff out to conferences and workshop or providing on-site professional development opportunities. We do set aside some monies for those. And then our support staff, which is our student support facilitators who work with our students at the school level. So we do have one per site, and those are the ones who work with our students throughout the school day, whether it's providing homework help, tutoring, and so forth. And then, of course, making sure that we have enough funding for some of the certified staff that we have here. And the certified staff that we have under Title I are the academic coaches who help provide support to our teachers. And the reason why we have the instructional coaches is to make sure that the teachers have that support and that they are provided the necessary PD to help them target the different areas the students are having a little trouble with and so forth. So that's where we want to ensure that we have the funding there to provide that support to our teachers, so our teachers don't feel like they're left alone and trying to figure things out on their own. And then for supplies, this is the supplemental instructional materials that the students use in the classroom at the schools. So that's all the way from pre-K through 12th grade. The budget is broken out for each site to where they can look at different resources to help our students make those academic gains as they're progressing through the school year and to help them move on to the next grade level. So Title I, the set-asides that I mentioned earlier, it's money that we put aside for different components. So McKinney-Vento is one, and I mentioned that earlier. And then of course, for parent and family engagements, like how we put some of those monies aside. And on the PowerPoint, we do have some different activities that we help support, for example, like parent-teacher conferences, the We Are Family presentations, if you have a chance to participate in those, or if you were participating prior, we're still continuing that opportunity for our community to ensure that they have access to different strategies that they can use with their kids at home. So that way that academic support is provided at the home and at the school level as well. And then of course, looking at STEM nights, and then also hosting the annual parent summit. So for Pinyon Unified, it is a yearly event that we have. We alternate between one full day for parent trainings here through Pinyon Unified. Last year we had to do virtual, and this year we are going to do it virtually again just because of what's going on with the current pandemic. We just want to make sure that we are doing our part to keep the numbers low in our community. And with the annual parent summit for this year, we are looking at March 16 and 17. And Mr. Vicente can speak to that when we get to the parent component on this particular presentation. And then also ensuring that we have parent resources and handbooks available. So we do have the parent handbook that we publish every school year and that we distribute at the school sites to parents who have students enrolled at Pinyon Unified. So if parents who have students enrolled across the district, one copy would be provided because it does cover everything from pre-K through 12th grade. And then also to ensure that we are getting the necessary feedback, the crucial feedback to help us improve our programs at the school level. So that's where we put some of the set-aside information on and so forth. So Title I assessments. So this here particular component is to ensure that as a Title I school, that parents understand what the needs assessment is at the school level and at the district level, and what the school-wide goals are. And then, how do they look at those results and so forth to improve the programs at the school sites. So with this one, let me go ahead and pause here real quick to see if we have any questions from the audience. And if you're joining us through Zoom, feel free to unmute yourself so that we can answer some questions you may have. And just let me check on the other side. Okay, so I don't see any questions at the moment, so we'll go ahead and move forward. Another area that we're looking at, or this is what we're going to cover in detail here, is what is a needs assessment? It's like, what does that mean? So the needs assessment is the procedure that the schools use through data collection to determine what needs they have for their particular school site. And it's like, out of that need, like the need that they identified, it's like, what's the root cause for that? It's like, what are the priorities to help them? If it's an issue, is it how can they provide solutions? So that way, when the school year is progressing, those particular areas are addressed for students and so forth, and also for our teachers as well. So with this one, the needs assessment is a team approach. So each of the school sites do have a team, which entails the administrators, includes the administrators, the instructional coaches, and then teacher leaders, and also parents. So parents, if you are watching this and that you want to be part of that committee, feel free to reach out to your school administrator, your principal, or your assistant principal, and let them know that you're interested in participating in that team, so that way you can help the schools identify other areas they may not have are aware of. So that's part of the parent component. We try to make sure that we get that community feedback to provide a comprehensive program for all of our kiddos here. And we're always looking at data. So this data, whether it entails looking at the local assessments, so your state testing, the DFAs and so forth, we're always looking at numbers to see like how can we provide resources to these different areas to make sure that the schools are providing the necessary support to our students at the different sites. So with that, they identify the primary need, the root cause, and from there they develop their need statement and their desired outcome. And with that, it helps them develop their SMART goals. And with this one, they look at what's working, what's not working, and what's needed. So the needs assessment really breaks it down for the schools so that way they can continue to improve the academic services and other support services they have at their site. So with the comprehensive needs assessment, that is what is required of us as a public school from the Arizona Department of Education. And these are resources that the state provided to ensure that we are meeting the different areas that they want us to focus on. And that's part of the integrated action plan. So the integrated action plan, we have 6 areas that we focus on at the school level and at the district level. So these particular bubbles here in the plan itself is called a principle. So principle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, so forth. So principle 1 is effective leadership. Principle 2 is your effective teachers and instruction. Principle 3 is effective organization of time. Principle 4 is your effective curriculum. Principle 5 is conditions, climate, and culture. And principle 6, which is family and community engagement. So when the schools are looking at their comprehensive needs assessment, these are all areas that they look at. And from there, they look at how they can improve based on the indicators that they are reviewing. So for example, if they're looking at family and community engagement, if a school site is struggling with that area, where on the scoring sheet, you have 1, 2, 4 different indicators to look at, and depending on how you select your answers, if the score is relatively low, then that's the primary focus the school is going to have for the current school year, and then also for the upcoming school year. So there's a lot of information that we have that the teachers and the administrators do take a look at throughout the year, and it helps them improve their plan to ensure that we are meeting the needs of our students and our teachers here at Pinyon. So what is an integrated action plan? Integrated action plan is the step-by-step instructions, not instructions, strategies that the schools use to help them achieve the goals that they've indicated for that particular principle. So if it's something under principle 1, the schools know that's an area they're going to be focusing on. So the integrated action plan actually goes more in depth, because that looks at the different components and it allows them to go further and further down to drill to the base of the issue and then find a solution for that, whether it's providing or acquiring different resources for our students and staff and so forth. So with this one, we have the school level comprehensive needs assessment. So at the school site, the principals and their team work on this. Typically they start November of every school year, and they have for the new school year, they start in the November all the way up to the end of the school year to help develop and refine the plans for the upcoming fiscal year, and of course the current year as well. And with this, they do reach out to their stakeholders. So that means our parents, families, any organizations that we have in our community. For example, if we, or here it would be the chapter house, we can invite them to those discussions because they would also look at and provide a view that we don't typically see here. They have a different point of view that is helpful when it comes to providing a plan that will meet the needs of our students. And then to ensure that we provide opportunities for meaningful input and feedback. So that's where, like I said earlier, with the surveys, when the schools are sending those out, just make sure you do take the time to provide that, because the schools are looking at ways to improve their program and to make sure that your students, your kids who are enrolled here at Pinon Unified have the best education possible to help them prepare to be college and career ready by the time they complete 12th grade and as they move into the next phase of their life. So with this one, when we're looking at the plans, the first time we make a plan, it may not work. So we have to always go back and look at, it's like, how can we improve that? It's like what can we do in regards to making sure that we are meeting the different areas we have identified. So when we're looking at continuous improvement, an area we have to focus on is time. It's like, what's the time frame we're looking at? It's like, how can we provide quality improvement? So with this one, as we're progressing up the slope, we have to look at the plan, implement, and then check to see if it's working. If not, what can we do to change that? Make sure that we're acting. So that way our students are progressing to meet the state standards when it comes to assessments and to understand and to be able to move on to the next grade level. So this is the continuous cycle that we have here as a school district that we have to continuously look at. So anytime you as a parent or community member have questions in regard to the school integrated action plan, you are more than welcome to come in and have those discussions with your school administrators. So your principals, your assistant principals, or even here at the district level, we can provide some clarification so that way you understand what type of services and programs we have here for Pinon Unified. And I know with the current pandemic, we really don't have a lot of in-person meeting opportunities. So we do try to do a lot of virtual. So typically we would set an appointment to have you come in through Zoom or Google, or you can even call in to have those discussions. So we do want to make sure that parents understand that they have a voice when it comes to the integrated action plans, not only at the school level, but also at the district level. So it's really helpful when we have that parent feedback, because it helps us as a district assess and look at, like, are we on the right track or are we not? It's like, how can we make those improvements to ensure that the students are making and meeting those academic goals that we have set for them throughout the year. So with this, the integrated action plan, there are, like I was mentioning earlier, different components. So the LEA, which is the district level, we do have an action plan where we look at student academic assessments. It's like, how can we provide assistance to struggling students? And how can we utilize Title I funding or any of the other funding sources to coordinate some of the different programs that we offer here at Pinon Unified? And then, of course, ensuring that the parent involvement strategies are included and that we are always continuing to look for parent feedback and making sure that we incorporate some of those suggestions and ideas of our parents into the school plan. And then, of course, making sure that, parents understand what their rights are when we have a school-wide Title I program. So the school integrated action plan, this is at the school level. I know we did cover this, but I just want to make sure that you have different ways of looking at what the different plans are. And in here, I mentioned that we have goals and strategies that we use at the school level to help build the district level plans. And a lot of it is just coordinating across the school and then with the district team. And then of course, making sure that we have those meaningful conversations with our parents and including that in the plan throughout the year, adjusting as needed and so forth. So with this one, the school level plans are also included on this section here, where anybody who has access to the presentation can click on, and that will take them to their school site, their child's school site, so you can take a look at that document and have the opportunity to provide your feedback when you receive a survey in regards to the IAPs. So this helps our teachers, like I said earlier, I was like, it helps them when they have questions about teaching. It's like, these are questions that we look at. I know teachers they want to know who they're teaching. It's like, what are they going to be teaching? How will they teach it? And then how will they ensure that their students understand? So the reteach and enrich component is a huge area that we support here at the district, and that the schools are providing that opportunity to your students. And I'll have Ms. Generita here go in depth about that when we get to that component, when it comes to the school student services that we have for our students here at Pinon. So the academic programs is what we're going to look at next. Let me go ahead and stop here again to get any questions answered from our attendees. So those through Zoom, feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions. And those who are watching through Facebook Live, go ahead and use the comment feature so we can take a look at that and answer your questions. Okay, no questions on either side, so we'll go ahead and move forward. And I know this is a lot of information, so parents, feel free to call me after this presentation is done. I know sometimes it is scary to try and talk to in front of people who you're not really familiar with, so we do understand that. And my phone number, I will include at the end of the presentation, like I mentioned before. So you can always reach us and that we can provide you some answers that you may have thought of as the presentation was going through, or if you watch it at a later date, always reach out to us and we can provide those answers for you. So here, I will go ahead and have Ms. Generita Yazzie elaborate on this section of the presentation.
Thank you, Camille. Do we have at least 5 minutes to kind of run the video, so that will explain the basis of Beyond Textbook, and then we'll take it from there?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Let me go ahead and.
It's likely if you're watching this video today, you have a student in a school who is in a partnership with Beyond Textbooks. The goal of this short video today is to share more information about what exactly is Beyond Textbooks. I'm Justin Chesbrough, the director of Beyond Textbooks, and I appreciate you tuning in to watch this today. So Beyond Textbooks is part of the Vail School District. Just like any school districts, you have departments like HR, special ed, curriculum. Well, Beyond Textbooks is a department within the Vail School District, so actually part of a school district. Vail, if you're not familiar with us, we're on the southeast side of Tucson. We serve an area of about 400 square miles. Currently, we have 19 schools in our school district, and we serve over 13,000 students. We're typically known for our high achieving schools in our district, as well as some of the out of the box innovative programs, Beyond Textbooks being an example of one of those. What exactly is this Beyond Textbooks program? Let me give you some history. About 10 years ago in our district, we started seeing some really good gains with student achievement. In fact, the Vail School District was the #1 ranked school district in Arizona. We actually held that title for 2 years. And what we started doing in our district is we started creating these common calendars. So teachers at one school had the same calendar that teachers at another school in our district had. And we also started sharing resources with one another. We built this website where a teacher could take some great stuff that they did in their classroom. So maybe they created a great PowerPoint lesson. They could upload this PowerPoint lesson to this website that we created, and teachers within the district would have access to that PowerPoint. So this is a great idea of sharing with one another. Well, the Benson School District, which is right down the road from Vail, found out about this and said, hey, can we be part of that partnership as well? So back in 2008, Beyond Textbooks expanded into the Benson School District, where Benson teachers could upload their great stuff, and Vail teachers would have access to that as well. Just great idea of sharing with one another. So Benson was our first partner back in 2008. Fast forward to today, we're proud to be working with over 100 districts and charters. Most of our partnerships are here in Arizona, but we've also expanded outside of the state as well. Let's hear from Faith Alva. Faith is a third grade teacher at Mesquite Elementary. Here's her perspective on Beyond Textbooks and how she uses this program.
So usually when we sit down and plan, the first thing I do is go to the BT website and I pull off our unwrapped document. And that really breaks down our standard and shows me those big ideas of what I should be teaching those students, the vocabulary I should be using with them, and those essential questions, kind of guides our instruction. And recently, when we were doing comparing and contrasting stories for literature, I was able to go to the BT website and find a lesson where they used 2 stories about Cinderella, which our students just loved. And the fact that they had all those resources for me, I was really able to pick and choose and see what my students would really be interested in.
One of the goals of Beyond Textbooks is to provide teachers with tools to make them even more effective teachers. We provide things like the essential standards for each grade level and content area. We have nice documents to help them with lesson planning, defined mastery learning. We've created these curriculum calendars, a nice pacing guide to help teachers as they teach the standards throughout the year. We give them access to common formative assessments, a nice quiz to make sure students are mastering standards in both math and reading. We roll out a whole reteach and enrich program. We also give them access to this Beyond Textbooks website. It has over 40,000 resources for teachers to choose from. And these resources have been used and created by classroom teachers all across the state and across the country, where then teachers could have access to and potentially use them with their own students. As part of the training and support with Beyond Textbooks, when we roll out Beyond Textbooks in a new organization, we do a series of 5 required trainings. Just know your teachers and principals and superintendents have gone through these required Beyond Textbooks trainings in the organization.
I just really enjoy going to BT and being able to click on the calendar, and then you can just click right on the BT link and it takes you to that standard, and you're really just able to delve into that objective. And the great thing there is that it's teachers making those resources, and we all have a common goal in mind, and that's really getting our students to achieve and succeed in your classroom. And so when you get to collaborate with not only your own school, but schools across our district and across the state, you're really getting the best of the best. So we appreciate that in our classrooms, because we're able to take those and make it to what we need in our own classrooms.
All right, thank you. So once we have the Beyond Textbooks, as mentioned, we have all the essential standards all prioritized for us in order to be successful on the state assessment, or within a week, the DFAs are provided to check for understanding. So we function under the 4 D4 questions, which are what do we want our students to learn, and how do we know that they're learning, and then what do we do if they don't get it, and then what do we do for those that do master the standard. So we're always looking at that 4 question when we teach every standard, and the idea is for teachers to be able to utilize the data from the formative assessment to adjust their instruction. And we just want to share with you some assessments that are already here in the district that we are using. So we're going to go to the next one. So we created 3-column for us, and we wanted to share with you, how do we make sure your child is making progress and earning credits? So the first column is the district assessment. So we do have district assessment that you may hear. The NIWA map fluency, which is now, we're adding we're also utilizing the DIBELS Amplify. So those two pretty much assess the oral reading fluency for our students from K3. Then we're utilizing the NIWA, which assesses the K-12 students and just checking for understanding. It helps us identify the skills that are needed in order for our students to grow and be successful in mastering specific standards. Then we're also using the Performance Matter, which is a platform that we're using where all of our common formative assessment and benchmark are housed. We do utilize a third-party assessment, which is the Vail School. They provide us that information or assessments, and then through the Performance Matter, we're administering the assessment digitally. Again, those are used weekly and quarterly to adjust our instruction. Then we're looking at the state assessment. We have the new name of the assessment is the Arizona's Academic Standards Assessment, which formerly was known as the AZM2. So we no longer use the AZM2. Now we call it ASA, the AASA. So then we're utilizing the Azella for our English learners. And then again, for the Arizona Science, those are only administered to the 5th graders, 8th graders, and 11th graders. The new addition is the ACT Aspire. That is administered to the 9th graders only. Then we have the ACT for the 11th graders. And then there's the national assessment that is also offered and hosted by the high school. Then we have the NAEP that is also utilized where that one is, we get notified. It's a selection that I guess you get selected if you're going to be having your 4th and 8th grade take that assessment. And we do get results from these, and at the end of the year or at the end of some of the for example, Azella, you'll be able to get the information within about a week or a month. So then we have the Navajo Nation assessments, which assesses the Diné language proficiency and the culture and language standards as well. So typically we have our certified teachers administering the tests, classified workers as proctors or vice versa. Then we have the coordinators embedded in each of the school, and then we have testing sites that are identified. It's more structured at each of the school as well. And then I oversee the district's assessments and state assessments as well. Okay, go to the next one. So for the DFA formative assessments, we pretty much identify what we're going to teach. We provide instruction, we give the common formative assessment, we do data analysis there, we identify what enrichment activities we're going to use for those kids that do master the standard, and then what do we do and what do we plan for the kiddos that have not mastered the standard. So we call it the reteach cycle. So then from there, depending on how they scored, we offer them an additional 5 days for an enrichment or reteach. Simultaneously, we're going to be introducing a new standard too. So the idea is to make sure that there's learning and opportunity provided for students to grow. Go ahead and to the next one. Again, just you may have heard of how students are provided grade or earn their grades. You may hear performance band or just a percentage. So we're working with 0 through 59 is minimal proficiency, partial proficiency is 60% to 79, And then what we aim for is to get our students to be proficient, which is 80% and above, and highly proficient is 90% to 100. So this, to give you an idea of how each grade are issued, that's the performance band that we're working with for our DFAs and benchmark as well. On the next slide, you'll get more of scale scores for the state assessment. So you'll, once you see these numbers, they'll also provide you a graph of where each of your students or your child may have scored in each of the content area. As we get closer to the state assessment, we'll be able to explain a little bit more, and then typically they provide you the graphics as well to how to interpret those assessment that we share or mail out to you. And then how will parents receive update on the progress? So as mentioned by Camille, we do offer and have progress reports that we mail out, or we may have Zoom meetings. There's report cards that are provided as well as Zoom meeting. And pretty much we call it the parent teacher conference. And that can be done by phone or by a Zoom or a Google Meets. And then we also have the Power School app. I believe most of your schools have already offered how to get your phone, have an app that's where you can download onto your phone and then be able to check in on your student and see how they're doing. The posting of grades and assignments that may be missing, you'll get those notifications if you have that app. If you need help of how to do that, reach out to your school, and then they'll be able to assist you. Then we have the state assessments. Those come in and we typically mail out to you, or if you're on site, or not on site, but well, that's a little bit more of a challenge, but we'll be mailing that out to you. So again, you'll be able to see some of the scores and results from majority of the assessments here. All right, next, let me turn on my light here. Student services. So we do have other programs here at the district. So the first one that we have is, you can go to the next one, I believe, is the English Learner Program. So we do have students that are exposed to or speak two languages, and we support that. So basically, if we identify any of our potential students, they get assessed based on the home language survey that is completed during the enrollment. And then we determine or find out the level of understanding or speaking of the English language. So once that is identified, they are part of the program where they are provided additional support in areas of reading, writing, and oral language, as well as speaking the English language. And we want them to become proficient in the English language, as well as maintain their language, home first language. So we do have that available within each of the 3 schools. So if you're interested in finding out more, you can reach out to myself or each of the schools. And you may have received the backpack. Your student may have brought back a backpack. That means they are part of the EL program for the elementary and middle school. There is some flyers that we put in their backpack. So we appreciate you sending your students out to get their AZELA reassessment, and you will be getting the results on that. We encourage you to sit down with your child to review the the score at the end and set some goals. So we do have a lot of students that are scoring in the intermediate, just very close to being proficient in the English language. So help us there. Always speak to your children in complete sentences, either in English or Navajo. So it's always fun to do that even in the Navajo language. So thank you.
Thank you, Generita, for
Mhm.
giving us information on the assessments. So parents, community members, and even staff members, if you have questions on any of the content that we've covered so far, please feel free to use the chat feature in the Zoom, or you can unmute yourself to answer those, to ask those questions. And then for those who are listening through Facebook, please use the chat box there as well to have any question, to post any questions you may have so we can answer them for you. So another area that we do have and provide support for in regards to student services is the McKinney-Vento program. So this has gone through a couple name changes over the last couple of years. Before it was unknown as the homeless program, but now the correct term that they're looking at is the McKinney-Vento program. So with this one, what we're looking at is students who basically are homeless, don't have an adequate place to sleep, and so forth. So part of the Title I funding, we do set aside the 0.5% of that, and that goes towards providing resources and materials in regards to instruction, and then also some support services that the students may need, whether it comes to hygiene or to make sure that they have the proper attire to participate in the different school activities and events that take place throughout the year. So with the McKinney-Vento program, when a student is referred to us, we do have a referral form that we have on our district webpage, and the McKinney-Vento liaison for our district is Miss Marita Nez. She is the McKinney-Vento liaison. Her information will be included in the presentation at the end. So anybody who has or knows of any students who may be experiencing homelessness, please make sure that you refer those students to our program. So that way we can do the intake process with those students and help them enroll in the program. And then of course, from there, making sure that the students get access to the different areas that they are entitled to when it comes to public education. So with that, the kiddos who are enrolled in the program in McKinney-Vento, we help them get enrolled into school without the without some of the documents that is required. It gives the liaison a time frame to make sure that those necessary documents are obtained. So for example, our students who are experiencing homelessness, if they had to, for example, if they may have lost a home due to fire or some sort of other cause to where they don't have the materials, the important documents, for example, birth certificates, CIBs and social security numbers, those type of documents, we can help them acquire those. So the McKinney-Vento liaison will work with those different entities to make sure that the students get those materials provided to them, and to make sure that is on file for them here at the district, at the school sites, I'm sorry, and that the students are able to enroll and participate in the school without any barriers. So with that, we also, under the McKinney-Vento program, we have to make sure that we provide transportation to the school of origin, meaning that a student who is enrolled here at Pinyon Unified, if they have to leave our district to find a shelter or something in another area, for example, if a student has to go to Chinle and go through a shelter on that side, or have to reside with a family member outside of the school boundary, we have to make sure that we partner with that school district that they're currently residing in to transport those students to their school of origin. So if the student wants to continue enrollment here at Pinyon Unified, but currently they're living in a different location, for example, Chinle, we work with those school districts to ensure that the McKinney-Vento liaison is working with the transportation department to ensure that we are providing services to those kids for transportation, and that they are able to continue to attend our school district here, so they don't fall behind or, get dropped from the district when it comes to enrollment. And then we also have to look at eliminating barriers our students may be facing. So that's where our program, we do look at the school policy and to make sure that it is fair for students in regards to McKinney-Vento, like with those different criterias we have, and that for any unaccompanied youth that we do offer the immediate enrollment for those students who meet that criteria. And then, of course, to make sure that there's no judgment or discrimination, that all the communication that we do here through federal programs for McKinney-Vento is confidential. So any other entities that is not privy to that information will never get that from us. It has to, that they have to understand, like students who are going through our program, all their records are sensitive, and that we make sure that we protect the privacy of our students. And also to help with the homeless program, I know the students are experiencing traumatic events or issues relating to that, and that we have to make sure that we address those social and emotional needs of our students, and that we provide them the connections and resources, for example, helping them get into contact and establish meetings possibly with our school counselors if needed, our social workers, our social worker here on site, and then also making referrals if needed. So we want to make sure that we are addressing that area for our students, and that they're not going through some sort of traumatic event on their own with no ways to properly process that experience that they're going through at that time. And then, of course, making sure that we are writing referrals to different entities. So, for example, with the homeless program, it basically means the student has no place to stay that's safe and adequate. So with that, if a student and their family are applying for housing through NHA or some other entity, we help support them through referrals to ensure that their applications are considered in a more expedient manner, so that way we can get those students into a safe environment. And that way they can continue to focus on making those academic gains when they are here at our district. And all of this is done through our McKinney-Vento liaison. Ms. Marita Nez, she works closely with the students and the parents or guardian, whoever is with those kids at that point in time. So with this one, with the referral process, the link will be provided on our Facebook page, and then also through the district webpage and so forth. So for the McKinney-Vento eligibility determination, this is the criteria we look at when we are establishing services for our students. So this is what we look at to see if a student is lacking a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. So typically that means a student, if they lost their home due to academic hardship or any other reason, if, due to fire or flooding or any weather-related type of incidents, we do, for those students in that situation, we do get them into the program. So that way we are providing services to make sure that the students are continuing to receive quality education here at Pinyon Unified. And then also for students who are living in motel, hotels, trailer parks, and so forth, or emergency shelters. So this is the criteria we look at. If you know of any students who are in this situation, please let them know that we do have this program available at Pinyon Unified under the McKinney-Vento program, and to help them reach out to us, because we want to make sure that those students are receiving the proper services here while they're going to school, and then to make sure that they have the necessary connections to other entities as well to provide different resources and support that is needed for the student and their family. And then from there, we will transition into how parents can be involved. And this is required under Title I. Parent participation, support, and feedback is one of the driving areas that we look at under the Title I program. So with this, I will stop at this point to see if we have any questions from those who are joining us through Zoom, or for anybody who is watching through Facebook Live. Feel free to put your comments in the chat box and we will take a moment to answer those questions. Okay, I don't see any questions, so we'll go ahead and move forward. So for parent involvement, parent and family involvement, it is one of the requirements that we have under Title I. So this particular program originally is started as with the name No Child Left Behind, and then eventually it changed, and currently it's referred to as the Every Student Succeed Act. So we refer to it as ESSA. So with that, when we're looking at the parent and family engagement component, we want to make sure that parents and families are involved in the decision making and the different activities we provide here, and that the funding is allocated for those different type of activities throughout the district during the school year, and if needed into the summer. So that way we have all the necessary support for our parents so they feel comfortable in ensuring that their child continues to receive high quality education. And then we also provide a lot of family components to and look at refining our school student parent compact. So with this one, it is a set of criterias and expectations we have as that we outline as a school, a district, and then also as a parent and a student. So with this one, the school student parent compact, I will go ahead and share this one so you can see what the current compact looks like. And this is also included in the parent involvement handbook. So for those of you who did receive this particular document, it is in there as well. And this document is updated every year. We will start the process of updating this particular plan here in the next month or so. So parents, if you have a survey coming out to you in regards to parent feedback, that helps, answer some of the questions we have as a district and how we can continue to improve services to our parents and students of Pinyon Unified. So with this one, the parent-student compact, the school parent compact outlines what the school responsibilities are. So this basically indicates what Pinyon Unified School District will do. So that means, providing high quality curriculum and instruction in a supportive and effective learning environment, lessons that are aligned to state standards and so forth, how to utilize the BT framework, utilizing the curriculum maps to provide quality instruction for kids in the classroom, and how some adjustments can be made if needed at the school sites, and then of course supporting those initiatives at the district as well. So as a school district, these are our responsibilities. There's 5 different areas that we focus on, and we want to ensure that parents are aware, as a school district, this is what you have to hold us accountable for. So if you notice that there's something on here that we are not meeting either at the school level or at the district level, you have the opportunity to let us know and provide that feedback to us so we can address those areas of concern. So with this, we have the parent component, and then which has different areas here, ensuring what, as a parent, like how you support your child in learning and helping them prepare. So for example, being well rested, attending school daily and on time. And I know right now we are in temporary remote learning. So we just have to make sure that our students are checking in, submitting the packets or the online material that's issued out to them in a timely manner. That way students are not falling behind. And if for some reason they are continuing to struggle with some of the information that is being relayed, we do have the after school tutoring program that is available. And then of course, throughout the different sites, they also do provide academic support during the school day as well. So just remember, as parents, there are different options to help and support your students here. And if you're not aware of what those are at your school sites, always reach out to your school principal, assistant principals. And then also you can reach out to Ms. Generita Yazzie, the curriculum director, and myself as well. So that way, that we are meeting the needs of your students and that we are providing resources to help them make those gains as they progress through school. And then how parents, what you have as accountability on your sides, like making sure that you are participating in the different events that we have. For example, on here, we have the Title I meeting, and also taking the opportunity to participate in our Johnson O'Malley Indian Education Committee meetings. We do have that every month, typically the first Monday of every month, unless if it falls on a holiday, then we adjust that to the following day. And of course, participating in the Family Involvement Action Team meetings, otherwise known as FIAT. And then at the school sites, there are parent advisory committees that do take place. So follow up on those with your school to ensure that, that you can participate and that you take place, or that you participate during the activities that take place in regards to parent feedback and so forth. Then also, when we do have parent-teacher conferences, our expectations of parents is to make sure that they do participate in that. Report card parties, when we were doing that, but with COVID, things did change to now where we had to switch to virtually. And a lot of those discussions that you've had in prior years during report card party, in-person report card parties or parent-teacher conferences are now done through online format or through phone calls as the school progresses with your students. And then also making sure that we have participation from you for the different activities your child may be participating in, and to make sure that you monitor your students' progress in regards to grades, attendance, and behavior. And anytime you do get a question, or if the schools are reaching out to you for feedback, always make sure that you do provide that contact and everything is current in PowerSchool, so that way the schools are contacting you if anything should come up of an urgent matter, that we do call and contact the right numbers. And then what the students' responsibilities are also outlined in here as well. So these are our students' expectations. So this is 10 different criteria that we expect of our students. And at the school site, the school parent-student compact is signed and kept on file. So at the beginning of the school year, or anytime during the enrollment process, when you get your online application or your paper application for enrollment, there is a section to where the student and the parent will have to sign off on this document. And that's the contract that we use to help guide discussions and provide services to students, and vice versa, what you can expect of us as a district as well. So the school parent compact, this is different ways of looking at it. So when we're looking at that, we're making sure that we have the home and school connection, because it is a cycle to where we need input and feedback from everybody. So parents, students, and the school, that we are having those meaningful conversations and discussions to make sure that the students are getting a high quality education to help them throughout the school year. And in order for the school parent compact to be successful, we need all areas of support. So we really do need parents' participation, our teachers and student participation. And that way we are all held accountable to the different expectations we have as a district and as at the school level as well. Because with all three areas working together, we are better in providing resources and identifying resources to help our students. And that way we help them prepare to be college and career ready by the time they leave our area. For this coming school year, we have different parent engagement activities that are ongoing or will start soon. The We Are Family Nights, we have this event every other Tuesday from 5 to 6:30, and the school sites usually provide information on areas that they're focusing on at their school level. So the We Are Family, the link for the flyer is attached. So when you do click on that, you'll see the semester schedule. And with this one, we do stream it through Facebook Live, so you can participate through that. or if you want to join through Zoom, the information is included on here. But for the parenting classes for this second semester of the school year 21-22, the upcoming presentations are outlined here. So we did have our high school present on February 1st, and next week for February 15th, our family involvement coordinator, who is Mr. Leland Vicente, will be hosting that discussion. So do attend those. They do provide a lot of good feedback opportunities, and they share a lot of useful information with parents on how they can support their students at home with academics or using social emotional learning needs as well. So it is really comprehensive as to what the schools do cover. So if you are only interested in your students presentation at their site, so you can choose between elementary, middle, or high school, or you can attend all of them. I mean, we're not saying that don't attend just because you only have a student enrolled at one area. It's best to have information from all schools. That way you can understand what the expectations are as your student progresses from kindergarten up through high school, because all three schools are different. They have different goals that they're looking at in regards to their integrated action plans. So it does help when you have that information, and that way you can have those discussions with your students and help them prepare for middle school and high school, and then post-secondary and so forth. So parent-teacher conferences are continuing. We had one recently, but due to the technical difficulties with the network and phone lines, that particular event was rescheduled, but schools were reaching out to parents. So if you haven't received a phone call, or if you're interested in doing a parent-teacher conference on another time, feel free to reach your school administrators so you can have those meetings set up for you, so you can have those meaningful discussions with your child's teacher, and to help ensure that you are preparing and have all the necessary resources to support your students at home as well. And then we also have Pam's virtual nights. There is one coming up here soon in the next couple of weeks or so, but this flyer is from a previous parent activity that they did at the middle school. So with this, they cover different areas from STEM, math, reading initiatives. So parents and community members, feel free to click on the information. They use the QR code, so you would have to use your phone to take a picture of this QR code here, and it will take you to that link for that meeting or the activity they're doing. But this is an old one. I just wanted to show you what it looked like for the middle school. And when they have the new flyer, we'll send that out to you as well. The annual parent summit we will have scheduled for March. The information is on the Facebook page, and then also on the school federal programs page. So you will have the opportunity to pre-register. And the reason why we're asking for early registration is to help look at the different type of material we need to have available for parents. So for example, if there are hard copies of different presentations or activities that you will need for the parent summit, we will have enough copies for you to come and pick it up, or have the option to have the material delivered through your students, Google Classroom, or so forth. Whatever ways that we can get that information to you, we want to make sure that we have enough to provide the materials for the discussions at that time. So for this one, we do have different presentations that we're looking at, and our family involvement coordinator is going to put this information together. But he will have sessions regarding parent engagement, school data presentations, of course, called Navajo culture presentations and so forth, and other activities. So with this one, the registration information is included on this flyer. I will post it on the school Facebook page and on our website as well. So that way you can click on it and you can go to that registration. We do require that you register for day 1 and day 2. That way we know and get an adequate number for how many attendees we will anticipate for this particular event. And then for our Dinesh studies, program, we have cultural presentations, and we call that Dinner Stories and Teaching Nights. So parents, we are always asking for participation and welcome your participation in the different activities here. We do have one tomorrow evening from 5 to 6:30, and our teachers are going to be providing that presentation. So for next week, the presentation from not next week, for this week, Mrs. Stillman, our elementary Navajo culture teacher, will be presenting, and she will go over the seasons and then provide an activity for parents and students to do at home. So the Zoom meeting ID is included in here along with the passcode. And we will also stream that through Facebook Live. So families, parents, you're more than welcome to participate in watching those, watch those presentations, and to provide feedback to us through the survey at the end of the presentation as well. So then there's also other areas. We have the JOM Indian Education Committee meetings. The flyer is included in this as well. So we encourage all parents to participate in this because we do have meaningful discussions. The IEC committee are parents of students enrolled here at Pinyon Unified School District. We just had one earlier. Earlier I mentioned that we have it the first Monday of every month, but because of scheduling conflict and so forth, we had to move our Monday meeting, February 7th, to today. And that information we do include on our school Facebook page and our school webpage, and we do send out the calendar invites for that. But for March, April, and May into June, here's the meeting information where you can click on, or if you feel like calling in, you're more than welcome to, and that information is provided here as well, because the committee is always looking for feedback from other parents in the area as well in regards to improving our Navajo language and culture classes district-wide. And they also help facilitate the Title VI Parent Advisory Committee meetings as well. And then for the Beyond Textbooks Parent Portal, I will have Ms. Generita Yazi go over this portion.
Okay. Oops. Go ahead and click on the top where it says click here for a sample letter. We'll start there. So parents, you do have access to what's going on within each of the school. It's specific to the grade level that your child is in. So here we have just a little introduction to the portal of how you can use it. At the top, it does have a link that you can click on, and it will take you to that site that we were just visiting, and it has different information in there. And the symbol that you want to be looking for is the house with the two hands holding up the house there. And once you click on there, you're going to be able to see the video that we showed you earlier, what the Beyond Textbooks is all about. And then also lots of link and other resources that are available of how you can help support your child in their learning. And then if you're wondering what standards are my child is learning or are learning, we have the benchmark standards all lined out by quarter. And then we even have a handbook where it's going to give you a definition of what the standard is about, and then even some sample questions that you can take a look at of what kind of questions your child what your child is going to be taking every Friday on the formative assessment. And basically that formative assessment will always have 5 questions, and each question pertains to the standard that is being taught for that week. So with one standard, just for an example, your child is learning about 3 to 5 skill and within that's embedded in that one standard. So that's what you'll be able to get a chance to visually see what that looks like. And then there's the dinner time conversation. There's a few articles that is posted that you can read, and then just teaching you of how to have certain types of conversation with your student. And then there's recommended books as well that you might be interested. And then of course, you'll learn a little bit more about the reteach and enrichment. The video there is a process that one school has. Ours and our district and every school has its own reteach process. And feel free to reach out to your principals to learn more about how the reteach and enrichment cycle is embedded into your child's daily instruction and how that is utilized. Then you have more information on more information of what kind of content your child may be needing, all the way up to high school. So maybe you're wanting to learn about what is the ACT Aspire. There are articles and there are literatures in there that you can learn about. Social and emotional concept. If you want to learn more about that, there's some resources embedded in there. There's a variety of things in there, even for our exceptional student as well as the EL students. So feel free to kind of check out each of the sites. So Camille, can you go back to that little portal that you were just at? So here you don't need an account to get to this site. So it gives you the video to learn more about the Beyond Textbooks is up in the upper left-hand corner. And then to the right, just basically pick the grade level that your child is in to get more information of how you can help your child. And then if you can open one of the benchmark and quarterly review, bottom, the second row, first one, yep. Perfect. So you have access for reading and math, and there's English and Spanish version, but we want to do the English because I don't know how to read the Spanish. So this is a handbook that you can pick up at your school. I know the elementary has printed just a few, and some of them may have been sent home. And this is just a visual of what the standard is and what your child is learning for the week or for the quarters. So it's broken down by quarters, so that every handbook will have all the standards. One sample of the standard being taught within that 9 weeks. So you kind of get an idea, the learning objective number 2, that's the standard kind of spelled out, and then it gives you an opportunity to practice and of how to do that. So if your child is learning how to annotate their question, this is where you would be able to provide support and making sure, go back and let them know, go back, no, not you, and tell them to reread their question, identify their nouns and their verbs, and what is it that they're looking for, and showing their work. So this is where they can actually do a little bit of practice with paper pencil. And I believe you can even print this if you have a printer. Not very many of us have printers. So then the vocabulary words, these are academic vocabulary words that the teachers will be using, and students will be reading in most of their assessments or in their learning. So just giving you some vocabulary words there, and then there you go. You get an answer key, so you can even check their work and give them a little grade for their little practice run. And having said this, we do have this as well as for the 3rd graders to 12th grade. There are lots of state assessment practices that is on the website that that is available for your student to be able to participate in. For the Zella, there's even one that is paper and then one that is online. So these are samples of what your child is experiencing at school. So just wanted to share that with you guys to take a peek at some of the formative assessments. And then let's go one more back. And then even if you want to learn more about the common formative assessment, I think that might have, yeah, click the bottom one. Yep. And I'll tell you, there's a sample of what the assessment may look like on paper, and then they'll be able to see that on the Performance Matters platform too. And typically these are not to be sent home, and I'll tell you that in on the description there. And these assessments are pretty structured. So with even just 5 questions, teachers can do data analysis and figure out exactly what skill is needed to for reteach. And then again, they would adjust their instruction and provide a different strategy for the child to be able to master the standards. So powerful assessment tools that we have available to us. So then you can go back a button. And then so you can pretty much go down each of the list of things. Click on that three dots, yeah. And it'll give you more listing of what you can check out at home. And there's it. Looks like there's more. All right, then. Well, this is the website that is available to kind of get an idea of what your child experiences at school. So
Thank you for that, Janrita.
mhm.
So parents, we will go ahead and update that link that we have for the Beyond Textbooks portal. So next, when you are able to download the presentation, you're able to click and it will take you to that site. So let's see. We are almost done. The last part of the presentation, we are going to be talking about parent notification requirements under Title I, what is expected, and what your rights are as parents of students enrolled in a Title I school. So with this one, as a Title I, when your kids are enrolled in a Title I school, you as a parent have a right to request the qualifications of your child's teacher. So for example, if you have a student enrolled at elementary and you want to look at the qualifications for your teacher for your child, call your administrator and they can assist you with that to ensure that they provide you what you are looking at in regards to teacher qualifications. And for example, if we have a sub covering for a teacher for more than 4 weeks, you will get a notification from the school to let you know that your child has a teacher who is not qualified for that. And typically that you will see through our long-term subs. So those are substitute teachers who help cover for certain classes if a teacher has to be out for more than 4 weeks, or if there's a vacancy that they're still trying to fill and the sub has to stay in that classroom until that position is filled at the school site level. So that's where, as parents, just to let you know that you do have that right to ask for those qualifications, but you will have to go through your school administrators for that. And that we just recommend that you set an appointment and then go through that procedure, and the administrators can provide that information for you. Oops, wrong one. Okay, so this is a list of who your contacts are for parent leaders at your school site. So my contact information is the first one on the list. My phone number is included on there and the department that I work with. So with this one, feel free to give me a call. Do leave a voicemail because I do return phone calls for parents or anybody who does leave a voicemail for me. But if I don't have a message and I can't return phone calls, so just please make sure that you do leave a message so I can respond to any questions you have. And then for the elementary, you have Dr. Sells and the phone number for her building, so where you can reach her. Same thing with Mrs. Miss Chi at the middle school, and then Mr. Nelson at the high school. And then also you do have family involvement coordinators at the school site. They're called the FIAT coordinator. So at the elementary, middle school, and high school, we do have a representative to help you with any questions you may have in regards to what we covered in this presentation here, or any other parent activities that the school is hosting at their site. Then phone numbers is included for you, so feel free to contact the school and let them know that you want to talk to the FIAT coordinator for any questions you may have regarding a presentation the school provided or that you would like to see take place at that site. So always reach out to us. And then anything sorry about that. Anything related to our Dinestetti CTE program, we also have the ladies who are assisting with those programs listed here as well. Valencia is our, Ms. Edgewater is our Dinestetti coordinator. She helps with our Dinestetti program, organizing some of those different presentations in regards to Navajo language and culture. And then we have Mrs. McLaughlin, who helps with the CTE department. She's the director there. And anything that's related to the career technical education, parents, if you have any questions that you may have regarding the program or other areas related to the CTE program, you can reach Mrs. McLaughlin at that number. And then also at the district-wide level, we do have Mr. Leland Vicente. His phone number is included on there. He is hosting different activities throughout the school year. He will have a parenting class here that will kick off soon. So if you're interested in participating in those parenting classes, feel free to reach out to him and enroll in that particular session of your choice. And that way we can help support you as parents at the school and at home as well. So next we have our program evaluations. We just want to make sure that you as parents understand and that you have access to the different components in regards to surveys or providing feedback, because we do really want your input when it comes to the school programs and the district program. Is that how can we make improvements? And you as a parent can see areas that we may not see. And that's where your feedback is crucial. So that way, when you do get those evaluations or survey requests that you submit, take the time to take the survey and send that information back to your school site. And anytime you have a question regarding any material or content that is coming out of one of your schools, always reach out to the site to make sure that you have your questions answered. And then with this one, when those surveys or evaluations are collected, we do look at that information and that we look at the data and how can we make those improvements. So that's where we analyze the content to see if we have an effective plan. If not, what adjustments can we make? And then also identifying barriers that may come across that we were not aware of. But so it really does help when parents provide us feedback in those regards. So that way we can address those areas of concern in a timely manner and that we come to a resolution as soon as possible. So that way our students are still getting that high quality education while they're enrolled here at Pinyon Unified. So with that, parents, I do have a survey for you to complete, and then also our Zoom attendees. I will drop the link to this survey. You would click on this arrow, the survey link next to the arrow, and it will take you to the Google form. And that's where we are collecting your feedback in regards to parent engagement or any questions you may have. We can use that opportunity to collect that information so that way your feedback is incorporated into what we are currently doing at the school level. So let me just share the link with those in Zoom. So attendees that are attending through the Zoom link, I did provide the form in the chat box. So feel free to click on that and take the survey. It will not require an ID or an email for you to disclose your email. Only thing is we request that you have a Gmail in order to access that survey. So that's what we have there. And that's all we have. So thank you for participating with us. I know this is quite a lengthy meeting. There's a lot of information we covered. And I know with public education, there are acronyms that we throw at parents all the time. So any of the acronyms that we've covered in the presentation, if you have a question on it, reach out to us and we can, have that discussion to make sure that you understand what type of programs or services that we're mentioning, because I know we do have a lot of acronyms that we use in public education that a lot of our parents may not be familiar with. So thank you. And then for those who are in attendance, thank you so much. Are there any questions from anybody in the Zoom or through Facebook?
There is one request from the elementary. They have their CNA survey posted in the Eagles Express. So families, if you guys have a student at the elementary, go to the Eagle Express to take this, to fill out the survey. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Janita. Okay, and here's the contact information that I was promising throughout the presentation. My email information is included on here, as well as Mrs. Yazzie. So anything that we've covered tonight, and if you have questions or like clarification on, feel free to reach out to us either through phone or email, whatever your preference is, and we will respond in a timely manner so that way you are aware of what type of services that we do provide here at Pinion. And thank you so much, everyone, for attending.